So in my experience, the only thing that really determines our destiny, it's our conditioning. Meaning what our subconscious mind considers as normal. For some people, it's totally normal that they are given the best paid jobs, highest positions without them actually making any specific effort. I could quote an exact name of one German person that is this type of has this type of conditioning, let's say, and as this person moves from company to company, he brings his own people, and he has zero shame stepping in front of the marketing, promoting any company, and playing this game, while essentially he doesn't bring any tangible value, but he was conditioned that he can get anything without any specific effort, and that he should put himself first. While you have people who end up being CEOs, but their path, the climbing path, is super difficult, super challenging. And all of these, like 50 shades of gray in between, are actually indicators of how somebody was brought up. What do they believe about themselves? What's the level of self-esteem they have? How they feel worthy or not. Me personally, I'm somebody who has been conditioned to just feel invisible. Nothing is ever enough. Even the best work, it's just like not acknowledged. It was not even acknowledged. I was never praised. So if I haven't found Jesus in the age of 12 due to some situation, and Muji later on, if I didn't have this spiritual portion of myself, I would not exist, because a human who has been conditioned that you always have to give and give and give, never praised, there is always some feeling something is not good or right with me, and the only way to belong somewhere is to give and give. But one can only give so much. And this goes same for women and men. I mean, but throughout the history, women have been specially conditioned to shut up, suffer, and give. And they were also burned when they refused to do it. I'm sure there are people there who are feeling very sad about Inquisition not being active anymore, because it's easier to destroy what one doesn't understand or don't want to evolve at that level. Anyway, so this mastermind group, the point is to address conditioning topics which are of interest of those who decide to come, because only by questioning, instead of accepting every thought and every emotion and everything that's going on as axiom, I think that's how one pronounces. Axioms are like rules in mathematics, which are the baseline for everything, and they are like the foundation. They are never questioned. And I just remember Osho. He was persona non grata in every university he went, because he always asked questions. And if I had this level of intelligence when I was studying, I would ask a lot of questions, and probably I would be kicked out. But I was blindly following authority, and I was blindly following the systems. Because I was brought up to believe my own attitudes, ideas, thoughts are worthless. So everybody else have better value, higher value than myself. But I struggled with that, and arrived to a certain point where I know that's no longer truth, and managed to start setting boundaries, which was impossible before. So before artificial intelligence, before any AI tool, before any business plan, comes your conditioning. If you have been brought up to believe the only way to do everything is to do it alone, if getting help and attention when you were little meant something uncomfortable, unpleasant, one will always avoid support and attention of others people's when they grow up. Hence, they will have much bigger challenges achieving anything. That's my case. I was brought up to believe the only value of doing anything is if you do it alone. No help, no support. This was, of course, changing in my life. But the baseline of the programming remained, and especially it was reinforced in the last 7 years because I came back to the source of conditioning, aka karma, or emotional programming, or whatever you want to call it. So without, of course, not, as I said, there are 50 shades of gray. For some people, their conditioning, it's awesome. Like for this CEO I mentioned, he has a great life. He's moving through companies, doesn't feel guilty about not being a real leader, because his conditioning told him, you don't have to prove anything to anyone, you already have value. But that has its own consequences. Other people struggle all the time, and they will choose the most difficult path to achieve something, or before opening to receive something, somehow their life will create a situation where they will have to suffer, struggle, and once they suffer and struggle enough, then it's like, okay, now I have suffered enough, hence I can receive something new. And I belong to this side who was convinced you have to suffer and, go down the most difficult path and serve everybody else. But as I mentioned, conditioning has 50 shades of gray. So for people who have not been suffocated with their conditioning, their normal seems normal. It seems okay. But what I also came to understand that once those people are exposed to somebody who has done more, achieved more, has embodied more happiness, joy, they feel irritated and triggered. Because to move out from conditioning, one needs to question their whole lifestyle, how they're living, with who they're living, how much fulfilled are they, and so on. And one of the also ways to dismantle all of that is to start asking money from people. That's a great way to see who is around you, and just say that you're bankrupt and you don't know when that will be resolved, and that you need support. And then look who stays long term and who flees immediately. The reason why people do that, because a lot of people, first of all, earn money in a way which is not fulfilling, and secondly, a lot of connections and interactions are just transactional based, and people want to be around those who are already at some higher plane, because proximity to power gives sense of one having it. But of course that's not true. But also being around people who have achieved a lot of stuff, you get into their energy, and one gets upgraded for nothing. Chicks for free and money for nothing. Is that the Dark Streets? But as mentioned, I understand that that humanity unfortunately needs to end up in some suffering points before it's awakened. And I have no intention going around awakening people. I know my pain points, which I want to address, and then live for myself and then see what happens. But also I have a lot of this knowledge, and people who are eager to examine their life and understand that there is more to it than what we have been told, especially projected through Hollywood, through movies. Don't get me wrong, I love 7 Art, but I also watch time to time some Netflix series, but they are more like epic fantasy and sci-fi. But how we don't get tired of watching other people living high-end lives, luxurious lives? How don't we get fed up watching other people performing, singing, dancing, and we, don't utilize that? I know why I was not utilizing that, because of my conditioning, but I just don't understand how people don't get offended by the idea that they should be just a spectator of somebody else's life. That part, I was also fascinated with some people, but then once you learn more about yourself, you start seeing through masks and stuff. But I do also understand that specific amounts of money and specific materialistic lifestyles are, is that tranquilizers? What's the word? When you become numb. It's like anesthesia. nothing from within, it's disturbing us or feels unbearable, so that we step out from the current womb we are in. Because if anybody asks baby, would they like to be born, the baby would say no, because they have been taken care of fully inside of the womb. But also getting stuck in the womb doesn't allow any further growth. Cheers.